Welcome to this online lecture on Power Electronic Control Drives by Professor Tanuja Empate from Electrical Engineering Department, K.K. Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nashik. This is for the final year electrical engineering students from the subject Power Electronic Control Drives, Unit 1, which is about understanding the basics of electrical drives. So we will be studying electrical drive and its types, advantages of electric drive, components of electric drive and its selection criteria, and motor load dynamic equation and different operating conditions. What do we mean by an electric drive? It looks like made up of some components. In general form, the block diagram appears to be like this, having electrical source connected to a power converter which feeds the motor driving the mechanical load. Now, as a feedback loop, the motor speed torque parameters could be sensed and they are fed to the controller, which in a way controls the operation of the power converter. Now, this is a general block diagram for any electric drive. The main component of this drive system is the motor, which decides whether we will call this drive as a AC drive or a DC drive. And these are the selection criteria for electric machines. Okay, so while designing the drive, the motor is selected based on these parameters. We can just have a look at all these parameters. Now, why electric drives are so popular in industry? These are various advantages of electric drives, that they offer flexible control characteristic where the operation of motor load can be controlled precisely and accordingly the characteristic of the drive can be adjusted. It is available in wide range of speed, torque and power. They have longer life, lower noise, lower maintenance and cleaner operations. Naturally, this is in comparison with the previously used mechanical drives. They are adaptable to any operating conditions. So, this is the biggest advantage of electric drives. They do not pollute the environment. They can operate in all four quadrants of speed, torque plane. There is no need to refuel or warm up the motor, and powered by electrical energy which has a number of advantages. So these are basic advantages of using electric drive. As I said, they are naturally in comparison with previously used mechanical drives, and so use of electrical energy and electrical motor has a large advantage of higher efficiencies and cleaner operations and ability to operate in any type of environments. They have longer life, low maintenance, and all these advantages can be also associated with electric drives. That's why they have become very popular. There are two main types of electric drives. They may be called as DC drives or AC drives based on their configurations. And what differs in DC drive, as I said, the main component, which is motor being used in the drive configuration, decides whether this should be called as a DC motor drive or it should be AC motor drive. Largely separately excited DC motors are used, and then that drive could be called as DC drive. Now, when we consider the DC drives, there are two main popular types of DC drives. They may be converter fed DC drives or they may be chopper fed DC drives. The main difference can be seen in these diagrams. These are the converter fed DC drives. We can observe that this is a separately excited DC motor whose armature is fed from AC supply by making use of simple thyristor circuit, and then armature is supplied from single phase AC supply, whereas field is connected to a DC source. So this is surely a separately excited DC motor, and this is a simple converter which is a single, we call it M1 converter or midpoint converter using single device. So this is the simplest arrangement. In general we can say it is single phase half wave converter drive. Then other converters which are used are single phase fully controlled rectifier, single phase half controlled rectifier, and three phase configurations. This is a general block diagram which shows that this is a rectifier symbol. It could be single phase or three phase rectifier which is controlling the armature voltage of the separately excited DC motor, and field circuit is separately excited. In this case it is shown to be connected to a single phase rectifier circuit. Okay, so field is separately excited and armature is connected through the control available from a single phase or three phase rectifier circuit. So this is a typical block diagram which can be considered as a converter fed DC drive. Now since we have number of different configurations, the possibility of motor operation varies based on what type of converter is connected at the input end. When we said they offer flexible characteristic, what do we mean by that? That for example, this is a single phase fully controlled rectifier, and through power electronics studies we are aware that this type of converter is capable of operating in first and fourth quadrant. So two quadrant operation is possible from the converter side. But when it is connected to armature of the motor operation in these two quadrants, we are aware that first quadrant operation is forward motoring, whereas fourth quadrant operation is considered as reverse braking. No motor can directly go from first quadrant to fourth quadrant operation, and so even when the converter is capable of generating such supplies as positive and negative voltage and one direction of current, it is incapable of operating the motor in these two quadrants. And so ultimately such motors can be operated only in one quadrant when they are fed from fully controlled configuration like this. This is the limitation, and so the characteristic of the converter and the operations of the motor must be matched. Same is true for half controlled rectifier. For half controlled rectifier, the converter configuration can operate only in first quadrant, and so is the motor. When we look at three phase configurations, same is true for fully controlled rectifier or half controlled rectifier, and it is connected from three phase supply, so higher voltages will be available for the armature of the motor. But as far as the operation in two quadrants is concerned, no single rectifier like this can operate the motor in two quadrants. But for four quadrant operation, we need to use back-to-back connection of two converters. We call it dual converter. So unless we have a dual configuration, we cannot operate a converter fed drive into all four quadrants. Okay, this must be borne in mind. Now when it comes to chopper fed configurations, purposely I have included, there is no doubt you have studied that there are type A, type B, type C, D and E type of chopper which will operate the motor into different quadrants. Type A and type B operate only in single quadrants, whereas type C and type D operate in two quadrants, and type E operates in all four quadrants. So this is diagram which is included for type E chopper, and it is capable of operating this motor into all four quadrants. Okay, so such drives which are having input source of DC supply and they have self turn on turn off switches like IGBTs used to form the chopper bridge can operate the armature circuit of the motor by operating appropriate switches into on and off condition. We can allow the motor to operate in all four quadrants. So such drives are called as chopper fed DC drives. Those who are incorporating converters are called as converter fed DC drives. This is the classification of DC drives. When we consider AC drives, AC drive, when we say the motor is necessarily AC motor. So it could be synchronous motor, it could be induction motor, or it could be other special type of motors which are operated with AC supplies. Now since largely induction motors are used in industry, we have taken this example of induction motor. Typically when AC drives are used, the output end needs to generate AC supplies of required magnitude and frequency. And so this is an inverter section which is necessarily a part of AC drive. On the input end, there could be option. This DC bus, DC link capacitor is used and we call it DC bus, which holds the DC voltage constant. But on the input end, there is a AC supply which is available, and this type of rectifier, which is input rectifier, is called as a front end rectifier. In most of the cases, it is a diode, three-phase diode bridge rectifier. So its role is to convert available AC supply into DC, and the DC supply converted is maintained constant as a source of DC voltage for the inverter by the DC link. So this is a typical configuration for AC drives. When we go for AC drive classification, mainly the nature of control which is available for the inverter differentiates the AC drive into PWM drive, voltage source inverter drive, or current source inverter drive. These could be the types. In general, all these drives are called as adjustable speed drives because their main purpose is to operate the motors at variable speeds. So when we say adjustable speed drive, we are not specifying whether it is a DC drive or AC drive. But if we are using a terminology like VFD or variable speed drive, it is variable frequency drive, it is necessarily AC drive because frequency variation is possible only in case of AC supplies, and then that is necessary for controlling speed of the AC motors like induction motor. This is a typical diagram how AC drive look like. So AC drives, they have a control panel and they also have a display mounted on this, and we can have various connections made to this. Through parameterization window, we can parameterize what type of motor we are trying to control through this, and actually AC drive looks like this. Industrial AC drives, you can see on this run and stop button is there, and you have a function key. Through by pressing this function key, we can enter some parameters in this AC drive. So parameterization of the AC drive is generally done using these keys, and then the AC drive is ready for operating the connected motor. Now this is all about the classification of drives. We must understand that all the drives operate the motors which are coupled with load. So for us, what is most important is to understand the motor load dynamic equation. When motor and load are coupled together, they are driving at the same speed and they are driving, the motor is generating torque, which we call as motoring torque, to meet the demand of torque by the load. So we use the terminology that motor drives the load. The motor generates required motoring torque to match the demand of load torque. Now this is written in the form of equation by considering a common moment of inertia J for this combination. We can write the fundamental equation of torque as Tm minus TL equal to J d omega by dt, where J is the inertia, which is a combined inertia of motor and load together. Tm is the motor torque, TL is the load torque. Now why this negative sign? Because the convention is such that motoring torque and load torque are always in opposition to each other. So when we say motoring torque is positive, load torque is in opposite direction. So this is a convention which is being used. In direction of rotation for the motor is always considered positive for anti-clockwise direction of rotation. Okay, that is also a convention. Now why we call this as a dynamic equation? Because at every instant as the load requirement changes, the Tm minus TL, this needs to be balanced, and in this equation we can see that balance is achieved by the torque which is generated as the difference of Tm and TL in the form of inertia of the combination and rate of change of speed. d omega by dt is the rate of change of angular velocity with reference to time. Okay, so this is a dynamic equation. Any change in Tm or TL will generate j d omega by dt, either positive or negative, and then it will decide whether this combination should accelerate or reduce the speed. So when we look at the conditions, if motoring torque is larger than the load torque, it can produce acceleration. So in this equation, Tm is larger than TL, which makes j d omega by dt positive, and we call it acceleration torque, where this combination can accelerate and speed can increase. So this can be the condition during starting of the motor, as well as in other times when motoring torque is greater than load torque. When the load increases on motor, what happens is at that instant motoring torque is less than the load torque, because load torque demand increases. In that case, TL becomes larger than Tm and this difference becomes negative. Okay, so j d omega by dt becomes negative and it produces deceleration in the combination. So effectively speed of this combination reduces. The third condition is called as steady state condition, in which Tm is matched with load torque. So motor is generating exactly the required torque by the load, and then j d omega by dt naturally becomes 0. So this is taken as steady state condition when further change of speed is not seen. In this term we can see that j is constant, whereas d omega by dt is a dynamically varying expression. So at steady state there is no further change of speed, and so j d omega by dt becomes 0. So looking at these three variations, we can find out what would be the speed, what would be the acceleration produced by this, depending on operating condition of motor and load. So this expression is very, very important, and it is called as motor load dynamic equation. Further, while studying, we must understand that there are different load types. Everything, the drive operation, the motor operation, is all dependent on what the load wants. And so understanding the load type and nature of torque speed characteristic offered by the mechanical load is very important. So we will be studying this. We can also see the 4-quadrant operation of the drive, which is required because of requirements of the load and motor operations. As well as we can understand that all the drives can have two types of modes of operation, which are called as constant torque and constant power operation. So this diagram indicates, since this is general, I have included it on this slide, that when we say constant torque operation, may it be DC drive or AC drive, we are necessarily talking about the mode of operation where it is operation of the motor below rated speed. So this first portion where we are showing speed on x-axis and torque as well as power on the y-axis, we can see that from 0 speed to rated speed condition, the motor can be operated at its maximum torque for which it is designed, and depending on the speed at which we are operating the motor, it will be consuming proportionate power. Okay, so power curve is shown linearly proportional as the speed increases. If we are maintaining torque constant at maximum torque condition, then this multiplied by speed would be the power which is taken by motor. All these operations of the motor below rated speed condition are taken as constant torque operation, because the motor can be operated up to its maximum torque condition, maintaining it constant as per the load requirements. Now when we try to cross this rated speed condition, when we try to operate the motor above rated speed condition, what happens is the power cannot be taken more than that, because at this point rated speed and rated torque, so product becomes rated power. When we cross this region and try to enter in a region where we are trying to operate the motor above rated speed condition, we cannot take more power from the motor because it is designed for delivering that much power as the maximum power. But power equation, power equal to omega into T. So when omega is tried to increase more than rated value, torque needs to be sacrificed. And so in this region, power is maintained constant but torque becomes variable. It is inversely proportional to speed. And so this region, when the motor is operated above rated speed, we call it constant power operation. This must be borne in mind permanently, whether it is a DC drive or AC drive. So first is constant torque mode, second is constant power mode. Okay. And these diagrams are indicating 4-quadrant operation of the motor. And we are well versed with this, that first quadrant is forward motoring, second quadrant is forward braking, third quadrant is reverse motoring, and fourth quadrant is reverse braking, where torque on x-axis and speed is indicated on y-axis. When we talked of mechanical load types, we can characterize them into typically 4 main categories. Okay, the first category we can say constant torque type load, which is indicated like this. Torque speed characteristic, it indicates that torque remains constant irrespective of operating speed, and its corresponding power requirement is shown, where power, which is a product of speed and torque, can be increased linearly as the speed increases. Okay, so this is a typical constant torque type of load, and the example is crane when it is hoisting. Okay, so when it is, as I said, constant torque mode is always below rated speed condition. The second category is torque proportional to speed. Now we can see that torque is linearly increasing in proportion to speed. So as speed increases, torque demand of the load also increases linear, and in that case the power demand curve becomes like this, because power is the product of torque and speed. Torque is directly proportional to speed, so in a way power becomes in square proportionality of speed, and so this is indicated as square proportionality. Generator type of loads are typical examples of this type of load. Second category. The third type is torque proportional to square of the speed. So now torque is increasing in square proportion of the speed. This is typical example. This is called as fan type of load. And many of the electrical loads, fans, blowers, they come into this category. Now in this case, power is calculated as N into T, right? Omega into T, but torque is proportional to N square. So power becomes N cube. Okay, so power is in proportionality to n cube. So this is also a very typical example where torque increases in proportionality to square of speed and power increases in proportionality to cube of speed. This is also a very important type of electrical load. And the last type is torque is inversely proportional to speed, where as the speed increases, the torque demand keeps on reducing. So we can write this torque proportional to 1 by n. N raised to minus 1 means 1 by n. Now you can remember that typically series motor has such characteristic that when we try to increase the speed of the motor, torque demand reduces. And since this is inverse proportionality, when we try calculating its power, the power is omega into T. T is inversely proportional to omega, so their product becomes constant power. Okay, so this is also taken as constant power load. The way first load we said constant torque, the last load is constant power load. And typical example is operation of a series motor, DC series motor. When we operate, we know that the speed increases with reduction of load. So we must remember that the whole drive operation is mainly to cater the load. So we must understand the load requirements, and load characteristic becomes extremely important because how much load torque will be demanded by this type of load is depending on the characteristic. That much motoring torque must be generated by the motor and cater to the drive, to the load. So selection of adjustable speed drive, mainly the drives are used for energy efficiency operations, and so their main role is to operate the motor precisely as per the load demand. So selection of adjustable speed drive configuration, which we have shown initially, is based on the main factors as requirements of the application. As we said, it is all load driven. So first we must take care of what the load wants. Okay, what are the load and process requirements, and accordingly we must try configuring the adjustable speed drive. What is the size of the load? So this gives us idea about how much would be the motor size required, how much is the current and voltage requirements, and how much is the power delivery which is required for this load. We must also check the economic considerations. When we start considering about the cost, we know that there is no single option while having a drive configuration. We can have multiple flexible operating components which can be chosen in the form of power modulators or input sources which are available, and accordingly we can first check what are the economic consideration. If precise load operations are required, then large costs also are borne. Harmonic considerations. We are aware that most of these operations which are non-linear loads, the load which we are talking of is a mechanical load. So that load cannot have any problem with the electrical supply. But when we start operating the motor mainly driven from the power electronic converter, the power electronic converter is a switching circuit and it has distortions which are harmonic distortions. And so how much is the penetration of harmonics generated by this type of power converter while operating the motor in different modes, that must be considered. And reliability. Reliability is most important because most of the industrial processes, they are governed by operations of such adjustable speed drives, and entire process industry can be halted if there is any problem with the drive operation. So these are basic selection criteria which must be considered while selecting any adjustable speed drive. When I am using the term adjustable speed drive, it is meant to have either AC or DC drives as per the process requirements or load requirements to be driven by either DC motor or AC motor. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this lecture, where we have studied about the basic configuration of any electric drive and the advantages which are available from electrical drive and various types of electrical drives which are DC and AC drives, and the main criteria of selection of any adjustable speed drive. Okay, so with this we conclude for this lecture. I hope you have understood. Thank you.